Hey everybody, this is the LEGO NEXO Knights Character Encyclopedia from DK Books, and this is another book that I personally got mostly for the exclusive minifigure, and it is truly an exclusive here. I do not believe that will ever show up in a set. It's year 2 related. I'll show you that up close a little bit later on, but first, I mean, this is a fairly thick book. I figured since I have it here, I would show you some of the insides of it. It's called Character Encyclopedia, so you expect most of it to be stuff like this. You know, full spread about a specific character, you know, big picture and showing you some facts about them. And that's exactly what they do through a lot of the book, but it's not all that they do. So it actually starts with year 1 stuff and will take you up through year 2. I love these bots. Those are just your major characters. And they also give you some scannable NEXO powers. So if you're collecting those for your game, you can actually scan these. You can tell by the bars and blocks around the edges when they're actually scannable. They also, in this book, go through some of the builds and sets. So not just the figures. They give you similar kind of, you know, biographical sort of information about the sets, the major sets that have been released so far. More scannables here. Hopefully I'm giving you enough time. If you want to scan those yourself, you can hit pause and then use a device to go through that. But see, look at this. They actually go through the sets, which I was not expecting. I was really expecting it to be mostly just pages like this with the figures and then some scenes from the series, you know, showing parts of the story, major engagements and major areas, maybe some information about different parts of the universe, you know, the physical terrain and all, the cities, but lots of powers throughout. Many more powers than I expected. Like, I thought that just the one that comes with the figure would be it, but you know, quite a lot. And this is still, I mean, this is still year 1. And I've already gone through, or thumbed through about half of the book, and there's still more. All year 1 stuff. More scannable powers. So many powers. They're just giving them away. Finally. I mean, you know, it's kind of been a little bit stingy with those compared to the number that are actually available in game, you know, which is just a huge number. And finally, we get on to year 2. And once again, they go through the same characters with just all of their updates. They do highlight some of the specific changes to them, including the bots once again, and the fancy ones. There we go, just your regular Squire bots here. Now they have changed. And then sets. Okay, this is an important page because this highlights the figure that's actually included with the set. So I'm not going to read through all that, but you know, if you want to, again, pause this and read through the text, feel free. I also mentioned that his sword is lighter because he's heavier because he's turning to stone. Although I'm not sure if that's actually accurate, how that would actually work out, but this is the name and a little bit of description of the power that comes with that figure as well. And it's a halfway conversion to the full stone version that we also got. So that's good to see there. And more scannable. I mean, every single power here is scannable, you know, every single one on the page. So that's a little bit more generous, and I want to get forward to the more interesting stuff, or some more especially interesting stuff. Maybe you want to take a look at that, but yeah, obviously, if you really want to check out the book in detail, you should purchase the book. It's not that expensive, it's pretty easy to get, but I wanted to bring you over to the end, which has some behind the scenes stuff. That's pretty cool to look at because they show you some like concept art and earlier kind of prototype level artwork. Some of the things that they were thinking of, like look at that. In that scene you can see, you know, just a lot different kind of view of the universe, whereas a little bit more based on your traditional battle between knights and orcs. And you know, it's still futuristic, so kind of Warhammer 40K kind of thing, but very, very different in how that would have played out, I'm sure. And Funny thing about pictures like this is these are always totally staged. Like, this is not an actual team design review meeting or anything. These are just pages that they've taken out of their archives many months after the design work is actually done. Like, this is way after, this is probably like after all of year one was released to the public for quite some time when this picture was taken, maybe even some year two stuff. That's an interesting, just an actual photograph of something physical, a prototype build of something they were considering creating. More art, showing the combo power there. This actually shows some characters that didn't make it into the real thing, some slightly different takes on some that did make it into, you know, the final product. These look interesting down here to me. Sorry, it's a little bit difficult to get good lighting on that, but you know, just a lot more texture. It's just a lot more texture than Lego actually uses, you know, for real. This takes you just really quickly out of that kind of behind the scenes look to some of the characters that you can go against, some of the baddies you go against in the game that were never made in physical form and aren't entirely Lego based, or are mostly not Lego based in their designs. But then here's more concept art to show you that they were going to have this Archie character in there. A lot of these to me look like Tenkai Knights. I'm just saying, you know, with their proportions and also just the overall styling. I'm sure it's not intentional. You know, there are multiple ways to get to the same kind of result, and you know, artists will frequently go through different phases that either inadvertently, accidentally, or through actual design process take inspiration from other things, and then eventually they try to come up with something that's relatively unique and different. And again, in here you'll see some different takes on things that even were actually made into sets or actually made it into the show. More of the orcs kind of stuff. Shows you some different possibilities for Jestro up there, a different race of enemies. And you know, we've still got year 3 coming, so we'll see if any of these actually make it into kind of the final designs. Just remains to be seen. I haven't personally seen any leaked pictures or anything, you know, designs in progress, but possibly some of those are showing a little bit. I think that's about it. A little bit of text about that. Oh yeah, that's an older prototype version of the 4-tracks. That's actually fairly far along in the process, getting a little bit closer to the end product there. But yeah, see, here you've got pictures of, you know, a bunch of sets that are complete, and you got year 2 stuff there. So that's when the photo op actually occurred. And that's it. So finally, I get to the main reason that I personally got this for myself. Looks like this has a little bit of tape on it, so I'll need to cut that off, and then I'll show you the figure up close. All right, so this is semi-stone clay, and I thought it would be good for the sake of immediate comparison to show you a normal version of him, and also the full-on stone clay, just so that you can see those together and how they combined them. They took the orange color out completely from the non-converted side, but the converted side is coming pretty much straight over. It just does not have the energy flowing through it. So it's not a direct kind of just half and half of the two figures. You know, it is truly unique. And of course it comes with the hair as well. You have a few interesting pieces there for the sword that were put together. Useful stuff. Relatively recent additions to the Lego parts inventory. And let me get these carefully turned around, which is gonna just require a little bit of finagling. But yeah, pretty good print on the back of that as well. Good level of detail, and yeah, I think it's pretty appropriately well done. It does have the 2 different colored legs and the 2 different colored arms as well. And as for the face does have a really good, unique, exclusive secondary face print that shows, you know, more of the progression towards the stone there, and that will work for the front or the back. So it kind of shows when he's completely okay, and then here where he's, you know, really starting to worry that he's slipping away, that he's not sure he's going to make it. And then the NEXO power that's attached to his shield there is that one called Chrome Bell per the book description, and once again that is a scannable thing, of course. So let me just do one last thing here to let you see what this looks like from the front as he's undergoing conversion with that alternate face with the hair. And of course these parts can be interchanged with some of the parts from either of the other two figures to kind of push them in either direction, you know, to make it look a little bit earlier in the conversion or a little bit later. So I think it's really good for what it is. That's it for this video though. Thank you very much for watching. Hope that didn't go too long, and I hope that I did show you everything you wanted to see. Talk to you again soon.